Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Ecommerce Marketing Chats. And today we've actually got a special guest, Chris Panteli from Linkifi. How's it going, Chris?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me, Charles and Jimmy. It's really good to be here.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah,
Uh,
no,
thanks
it's,
for thanks for joining us, Chris. Like, I'm obviously not in the SEO world, so my questions firing at you today are probably going to be at the beginner level, where some of our audience might be too. So Charles might be able to ask you those kind of more in-depth questions as well. But just for the audience in general, do you just want to give us a quick background, what you do, what kind of services you offer, and how it can, I guess, benefit people in the e-commerce space directly?
Yeah, sure. I'm the co-founder of Linkifi. We started I was running a fish and chip shop in England straight after university.
That
As
doesn't
Charles,
sound English at all.
as Charles knows, that's like the half Greek Cypriot, half English road path. After
yeah,
university, you take over the family fish and chip shop business. Did that for about 12, 13 years. Got into the world of online marketing, started a personal finance website, started making money, and I was looking to like outsource some of the link building elements of it. That's when I came across my now business partner. I'd been doing HARO myself, like inbound journalist requests, getting links from like unbelievable places, New York Times, Forbes. But I wanted to do some guest post link building, so got in touch with my now business partner. He he noticed the links that I'd got and said, I can do you like a campaign, like a guest post campaign, but I'm intrigued. How did you get these links? I told him what I'd done. He said, does he think I could do that for like some of his clients? At the time as well, I'd just been diagnosed type 1 diabetes. So being on my feet for like 12 hours a day in a hot, sweaty fish and chip shop was not an ideal long-term solution. So we started building some links for his clients and realized that there was a lot of like organic demand for it, and that's how Linkify was born. And then we've been through the ups and the downs with the Google updates and whatnot, but we seem to have
Yeah.
like done a full circle now where building real tier one media coverage under the brand and the spokesperson for the brand is not only having like massive positive impacts on Google, but also LLM search, which is the new buzzword. So it seems like we're in a good place.
Oh,
it's
great. No, yeah, the AI side is definitely something that me and Charles have been discussing recently too. So, yeah, no, great backstory. And just for those people that aren't aware, HARO is it was a service where basically reporters put out, hey, we want to interview or speak to people on this particular topic, and you could reach out to kind of them directly. I probably haven't experimented with HARO, and is it still around, Chris? I haven't even touched that in like
Yeah,
5 years or so, but I can
it's
imagine the quality's probably dropped off a bit from them now.
it's been on a bit of a journey. It was launched by a guy called Peter Shankman like 15 years ago. Then it got bought up by Sission, and they got bought up by private money. Then it sort of got bombarded with AI spam. Then they converted it into something called Connectively, which was like a money grab. Then they shut the whole thing down. Then Peter Shankman, he launched SOS, which was like a similar service. And then like a few months after that, somebody bought HARO back to life again. So we're in a golden era of these inbound requests. There's loads of places to find them, but yeah, it's changed from what it was like 15 years ago.
Chris, tell me, I mean, I guess to start with, you know, we have this conversation probably every other week uh, on the channel about, link building, the best ways to build links. And I have my I have my qualms with the link building side of the SEO industry, and how links are actually created, and how a link is not, the quality is not always equal. So I guess for those listening in that are kind of brand new, that know that they need to build backlinks to their site, what kind of differentiates you guys to kind of traditional link building agencies? And if you could go through a little bit about your process, that would be great to really kind of understand why your service is so valuable.
Yeah, sure. So obviously there's loads of different types of link building, and we don't take like a stance. We're not, we don't read Google's guidelines and believe that they are pages from a Bible and that you should do everything they say. Like, you can buy links from marketplaces, and we know that links, all different types of links work, can be part of a holistic strategy. But for us, what we do, which differentiates us, is we earn links via engagement with journalists from websites where you almost certainly can't in any way buy or pay for a link in that publication, because it's got a real editorial policy. Now, that's not to say you can't pay for a sponsored link. Many of these top tier publications allow you to buy a sponsored article, but that needs to be and will be tagged as sponsored, which Google will see and their readers will see. Whereas if you are able to engage with journalists, provide value in the form of commentary, and the journalist likes it and includes it, then you will earn 100% organic, maybe tagged to do follow or no follow, but it's an earned link, no exchange of payment, and will be on a publication, ideally that is a household name that you've heard of. So the creme de la creme of websites, the ones that you'd expect to be at the top part of Google's seeding algorithm when it's trying to delineate the value of a link. Like, many people believe there are seed sites, like the big sites, New York Times, where all that link juice starts and stems from and then gets passed down as sites sort of become less powerful. So for us, we're trying to earn our clients those mega tier one premium links that somebody else isn't just answering a guy on Fiverr and looking at his Google sheet and saying, oh, I can buy a link from there. And that has like massive value in many different ways. It's almost always going to be a homepage branded anchor text link. So it sends authority to the homepage of the website, but it's also going to enhance the authority of that expert spokesperson that's representing the site. So if you're running an e-commerce website that sells fitness gear, let's say, and you've got a fitness instructor or a fitness expert who is engaged in the media, and then that publication quotes that fitness expert and then links back to the e-commerce store that's selling fitness gear, you're building on that EAT, you're seeding the LLMs, you're doing all of that juicy good stuff just from this one form of very specific type of link building.
Chris, do you have these relationships, like, is it kind of a global thing, or do you concentrate on one particular area? Like, just being from the UK, like, are mainly your relationships with UK journalists, or can any kind of brand across the globe kind of reach out to you guys for this kind of service?
We mainly engage US and UK journalists just because that's the sort of the two areas of the world that is most prolific in this sort of like journalistic engagement. But we can represent clients from all over. It's a lot easier to represent US, UK, Australian, Canadian clients, English speaking, and if they're expert representatives are from those places. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. We have a lot of tech sites. We represent a lot of tech companies where their founders will be from Eastern Europe or places like that. As long as that you can demonstrably show that the company and the expert that is providing that commentary is real and authentic and has the skills and credentials that you're portraying to the journalist that they do have. Journalist is as long as the comments are good, makes sense, then they're going to be happy to link. But I think some territories like Australia, I know there are some agencies that do well with like Australian digital PR, but I just think and there's a couple of platforms that specialize in it. Source Bottle is one, which I think you can sign up for free. There are a lot of Australian publications that deal with that. But yeah, if you're from Australia, Canada, UK, US, then you can engage these journalists and have as much a chance as anyone else to win the quotes.
From your end, I just know from my own clients, Chris, like the chats about backlinks I've been doing Google Ads for close on over 10 years now. Only in the last kind of couple of months, the clients ask me about backlinks because they're hearing the importance of it for AI search engines. Have you noticed kind of recently kind of an uptick for people wanting actual backlink services, quality backlink services?
Yeah. I do think it's a bit wild westy at the minute though. Like, I don't think it's so early, but early tests are showing that like large language models are leveraging tier one media as a source. And I think the way that we need to look at this as like SEOs and the way that the way that like we want to think about our brand appearing in search, whether it's Google or any other platform, is how are they making a decision on what they surface. So with Google, it's 10 blue links, and we know that they heavily use backlinks as part of their algorithm. If they're going to rank a site that's talking about curing cancer, can they trust that those 10 sites on page one are not full of shit and actually not dangerous? The large language models, if I go in and I say I'm looking for a cure for cancer, like it needs to be giving information that it can trust. So we know it's not using links in the way that Google's algorithm does, but it's got to be using something. And I think it's a safe bet that brand and trust are two of the most significantly important things. And you can build brand and trust by, appearing in trusted and brand recognized publications. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of people talk about it. We're confident to say that what we do will definitely help. Like we can't pinpoint yet with specific data, build 10 links from tier 1 and you'll appear in top spot on ChatGPT every time someone searches. But
Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet that it's a good route to go. And yeah, we are seeing a lot of people, like I said, it's a bit wild westy. Everyone thinks they've got the AI, SEO, GEO, whatever the acronym is answer. But yeah, it's exciting. Definitely exciting times.
Chris, in terms of kind of the conversations you're having when you're speaking to, I take it you're obviously working with SEO agencies, but also clients directly. Do you have to educate them on the kind of the value of a digital PR link versus just, like you said, buying on Fiverr or paying for links? How does those kind of conversations go? Because I can imagine there still seems to be a lack of education in terms of clients they know that they need to build backlinks, but they don't really understand the difference between a quality link versus a low quality link.
Yeah.
What's that? What I'm interested to see what that kind of conversation goes like and how you kind of navigate that.
That's a great question, and that's probably one of my least favorite parts of this because it is difficult. I would much rather jump on a sales call with a prospective client who says, I know I need to get these great links. Pictures me, go and get me what you can. And obviously that's the dream client, but it becomes, when as soon as there's any sort of friction to the process. So first and foremost, digital PR links, you have much less freedom for relevancy. So if I'm going to buy a link from somewhere, I've got control over the anchor text. I've got control over the URL. I've got so much control because I'm paying for it, and I can decide exactly where I'm going to send that juice and how I'm going to do it. But if you want to get a link from the BBC, like there is no journalist in the BBC that is going to like take your quote, let you talk about your new email SaaS deliverability tool, and then also link to the inner page URL you've got for that specific new tool features. Like it's not going to happen. So you have to have some compromise on relevancy, and that can be hard to explain to prospective clients. Then there's also the whole do follow, no follow thing. Like digital PR will always be a mix of the two. Like if you like, BBC has its own linking policy. Like it BBC almost exclusively no follows. Many tier 1 publications no follow. We did a joint study with Carl Roof where we proved that no follow links pass juice. We did a single variable test. We ranked 5 pages in Lorem Ipsum. We sent a link to the page in spot 3, and within 24 hours it went to spot 1. So, and with now the talk of branded mentions being the new backlink, the education on no follow links is maybe becoming a bit easier, but that's still a potential point of friction. And then also, just knowing that they can't pick the sites is, a lot of clients have that, they're used to that as part of the buying experience of links. Send me a list of sites, I'll pick the sites. Like with digital PR, it's a lot of upfront work, but we've got to earn those links for the client. And the final thing, the time factor. It's not a quick process, and that can be a hard thing to explain as well.
Do you know going into it, Chris, that you're going to get the link? So for the reason I ask that is, for example, is there situations where you do all this upfront work and it's just a brand mention that they end up putting in the article rather than a link back to, I guess, your client's site?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So we guarantee to deliver the links that a client purchases, and we give like a rough time frame,
Yeah.
and we have a pretty good idea of how well we'll be able to achieve the results. But as part of that, we'll be pitching like continuously and indefinitely as soon as the campaign kicks off to all available and relevant opportunities. And I would say that 40% of the links that we bill clients, they start their life as an unlinked branded mention. So we have extremely robust tracking where we will, any use of a quote from a client by a journalist in the publication, we need to be able to see that as fast as possible, see if they've included a link, and then if they haven't, start a process where we try and get the journalist to add that link. That will be a number of email follow-ups, and then it will be going to editors, sub-editors, all of our experience and systems, we know where to go and what to do, but many times that will be unable to be added or converted, and then that is just as of now, a free branded mention. Maybe we'll add a little charge for the.
Yeah, I was about to say that's like value in itself. It's like, okay, go out and try to get these links, and if they are brand mentions, then from
Still
everything
value.
that I'm hearing at the moment, there's still a lot of value behind just the brand mentions by themselves, even. Especially, I've just seen how much like ChatGPT is kind of referencing Reddit forums and things like that, so that don't even have links. It's just a discussion around a brand. So I can imagine on kind of a tier one publication, just your brand being mentioned is going to carry a lot of weight in itself.
Yeah, 100%. And it is interesting to see how it's evolving as well, because I think they will become more powerful brand mentions. And you do have, while you don't have direct control over that like contextual relevancy of how you're going to be mentioned, you can encourage that by saying, to the journalist, I am Chris Panteli, co-founder of digital PR link building agency, Linkifi. And the journalist is almost always going to use some variation of that because they want to tell their audience who it is that they've quoted and where that person's from and why they are, why they should be listened to. So if you're getting your name, your company name, and what your company does all over the internet in massive publications, you're just, you're doing all of that juicy good stuff for the LLM training data, but also, all the other powerful things that a good brand mention delivers.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of hidden value, isn't there? Like, it's not just about getting links or getting mentions, but if someone lands on your website and you can put as featured in these publications, it's difficult to always quantify the full value of good, strong digital PR. But there's definitely that hidden value is there. It's just it's not like an ad where the you can track the full ROI. So yeah, for sure.
That's a great point. Actually, that was one of the benefits I forgot to mention, actually, and that's a really important one, especially in e-commerce as well. Like, I call it the Shark Tank effect. So I got massive. I'm a Dragon's Den fan because we're UK, but then when I realized I could access like 15 seasons of Shark Tank, I went balls deep into that, man. But like every single time you see a cool product from Shark Tank and you go on the website to look at the product, then there is a as featured on Shark Tank and then a few of the other like places it's been. So as a potential or prospective customer to an e-commerce product or store, that trust signal, if you can land on a website and you can see, I'm looking to buy some gym equipment from this sports e-commerce website, and on the front page or somewhere really, really visible, I can see they've been featured in Ask Men and Men's Health and 3 or 4 other places. Like, you have that higher conversion rate from your customers. If you do get inspected by a manual Google quality search rater, it's all those juicy trust signals, more sales. It's just, and that's all benefit outside of just the inherent SEO value of the link itself.
Yeah, for sure.
On that, on the education phase that you were talking about before, Chris, that you don't particularly enjoy, for our audience, do you guys have like a YouTube channel where you're cutting out that education phase through videos that they can go view, or is there somewhere else that they can go to kind of maybe they're just hearing about link building for the first time and they're like, okay, I do want to learn more about this. Do you have resources available that they can go and sit down and like listen to, I don't know, a good long video about exactly what they should be looking for in links, and just kind of recapping again what you've kind of covered even on this chat?
We have a YouTube channel which is less active than it should be, but we have our podcast which has been going for over a year now, and we always talk about links, digital PR, at some point during the show. But that's a good place where if they want to go and listen. I talk a lot as well on other people's podcasts, and try and spread the word. But
Do you want to plug your podcast, Chris? What is that if they want to go listen to it?
yeah, market movers, building brands and links with Linkifi.
Oh, geez, that's a long one.
Yeah, market movers, Linkifi. They'll find it.
I mean,
It's really good though. It's really good. I've had a listen and watched to a few episodes, and you get some pretty good guests on as well. You got some pretty heavy hitters. I saw that you had I think it was the head of SEO at Wise the other week. So yeah, there's some some pretty good guests on, and you interview quite a lot of the top SEO guys in different companies and within the industry, don't you?
Chris, are you trying to interview your clients so you can give them a backlink on your own podcast?
I tell you what, the for us the podcast is it's great for building authority for yourself. It's great to get people on that you just want to not pay their consultancy fee, but just have a chat and rack their brains. And then it is good for prospective clients as well. I'm not gonna but you can learn so much from so many different people. I'm showing you guys are doing podcasts as well. There's so many benefits to it. So if you can just take some ROI from that time, then it's definitely worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think at the moment Charles is definitely leveraging it more than I am at the moment. Every time I log into Facebook, I've seen a new short clip from one of our chats that we've had weekly. So I was like, oh, probably need to leverage this as much as Charles because he does it quite well. So imagine you guys would do something similar, especially if you're having some chats with some big name people in the SEO space or big clients as well. Just would add kind of additional authority to a link building business where kind of a lot of, I think, link building businesses can be put into, is this quality or is it spam? So it's kind of a point of difference as well.
Yeah, 100%.
And seeing a face to the brand too, I think that's so important, especially for link building. If I was sending a client to a link building business, I would want to know who's behind it.
Yeah, it does, and it does. Like a lot of people, if they come onto a prospective sales call, they'll say, "Oh, I've heard the podcast," or I've watched a few episodes on YouTube, and it does. It breaks that ice, and putting a name to the face is definitely, which is why I think brand and representative of a company are sort of go hand in hand, and that might be something which people in the e-commerce space are less inclined to do maybe. So we've had a number of e-commerce clients. We've had a lot of calls with potential e-commerce clients, and they usually don't have a public facing founder, or often don't. And that can be that impedes our ability to run digital PR for them, but it also impedes their ability to build that extra authority via a person to the business. So it's definitely something that they can do. They just, I don't know, they're making too much money probably. They don't care.
If they don't have a personal brand for their e-commerce space, is it something that you would highly recommend to them to do if they were comfortable with that, exploring the personal brand side of it? And if they were to kind of if an e-commerce business is coming to you and they don't have kind of that personal brand side, where's the starting point for you guys that you'd recommend them start? Are you recommending them to certain podcasts or certain sites as a starter point to get their name out? How would I guess, a founder who's in the e-commerce space that doesn't have that personal brand, like where should they go to kind of get started?
Yeah, so for the purposes of doing digital PR, what they'll need is they will need like a niche relevant expert representative of the business. They can have multiple like spokespeople for the company. So if the founder does want to be public and he is the e-commerce owner and they need an active LinkedIn profile, it should be easily identifiable, not hidden behind like, first name and single letter for the surname. Be as visible and public as possible. But what makes the most sense is to have like a spokesperson for the business that fits within the broad niche that they're operating in. So if they're an e-commerce platform selling supplement, weight loss or protein powder, if they can find, the best path for this is normally to find somebody that can produce some content for them or review some of their YMYL content, which is being written from a health expert. And then then you can use that person for some of your media outreach. Because a journalist isn't going to quote the founder of a weight loss protein e-commerce website if he's just the founder of the website. Like he's got no skills or credentials. Whereas if a journalist is asking for tips on, removing stubborn belly fat, and you can provide that commentary from a dietitian who is, expert or senior contributor to the e-commerce website, the journalist will be more than happy to leverage that person's credentials and more than happy to link back to the website. And then you're building real trust and authority to that website because they are operating within that YMYL niche, and you can do additional content via that spokesperson, product reviews, do YouTube. Like there's so much you can do. It's a lot easier in some niches than others. So if you've got a guy who owns a gardening e-commerce platform that sells gardening gear, like anybody can be a gardening expert. So if he can just say he's a gardening expert and make himself look like a gardening expert, post pictures, write social media posts about how he's a gardening expert, and that's fine. But it's a bit trickier when it's YMYL, but like I said, that is a solution to solve that.
No, that makes sense, and it's really relevant too. I've actually got a client in the supplement space, and their kind of almost point of difference is the two owners of it are actually naturopaths. So it's probably something that they might look to leverage, and I think they should, because a lot of these supplement companies are just owned by corporates that don't have kind of that, I guess, qualification and front face for those businesses unless they're, approved by doctors and then paying people to come in to recommend certain things too. But yeah, I think that's a good point. If you are kind of the authority in your space and you own kind of an e-commerce store, like it's probably going to carry a lot more weight, and you should potentially look at getting a little bit more front facing if you're not already.
Yeah, 100%.
Especially if it's going to help people like Chris get your brand and website out there in publications too.
Yeah, we love the health space as well. So if you want to send those neuropaths my way, that sounds good.
Yeah, I very well might. So they are Australian based though. So if that works, we might have a chat after this as well.
Sounds good.
Going international. Well, Chris, in terms of then, obviously, you've chatted a little bit about your process and the importance of kind of having a spokesperson. Could we go in and kind of delve in a little bit further in terms of, let's just say, an e-commerce store, relatively well established, and they want to come and work with you. What's kind of your process, kind of step by step, and how you would kind of tackle, working with a brand? Fresh new client.
Sure. So first thing is they can provide us with an expert spokesperson representative of the site that fits with clear credentials in the broad niche that e-commerce is operating. So obvious, if it's a gardening, they need to give us a gardening expert. If it's fitness equipment, a fitness instructor. If it's supplements, some medical expert. Then they need to make that wider web visibility of the association between that person and the e-commerce website. Journalists, they're not going to do CIA leveled investigations into like who's pitched them, but they're going to do the basics. which means they're going to go to the e-commerce website and they're going to try and find an about button. If that's like 4 clicks deep in some weird off nav bar somewhere, what they'll probably do is they just probably won't bother and they'll just go to the next pitch because they're going to have hundreds of them. If they can click quickly and clearly see an about, and then on the about it says contributors, and then they can see a picture, a small author bio, byline, a couple of links out to social media proof of that expert, then that's a really good start. They also are going to check the social media because they're not just going to trust an about page. They want to see continuity, and LinkedIn is the go-to choice for journalists. So provide them with a LinkedIn URL and then make sure those two things match. So I have a lot of clients that will come to us and they'll provide us with the expert. It's a gardening website, let's say. They say they're a gardening expert. You click on their LinkedIn profile and it says SEO manager or sales funnel expert, right? So the journalists aren't stupid. They're just going to go, well, this guy doesn't look like a gardening expert. He's got 5 connections on LinkedIn. The last 2 things he posted was about building and optimizing a funnel with an NAN workflow. So it's like, no go. So that has to all align, has to match up. That's pretty much the short and tail of it. Like, get that bit right, you're like 90% of the way there. Then we'd want to make sure that the client is understanding of the process. Like, we're going to be pitching as broad as possible within that broad niche. So there isn't, if you're operating it's like a broad health thing, erectile dysfunction pills, let's say, okay?
Don't get us banned on here, Chris.
Then there isn't going to be queries specifically on that topic. Like there may be one, I don't know, a year maybe, or a handful across a year. But in order to have a meaningful campaign, you're going to want to take the expert representative, the health expert, and pitch broad health topics. Still makes sense completely. But yeah, some clients that are more used to being able to pick exact anchor and inner page URLs and stuff, they do have a bit of a struggle with that. But if you want links on like askmen.com, men's health, the big daddies, then that's what you have to do. You got to play the game. And then make sure all of that stuff is optimized. Make sure that there is, make sure when the journalists are YMYL, they might go a bit deeper. So I would also make sure that about section is as robust and meaningful as possible. Like, mention all of your accolades, awards, mention your previous features as well. So if, let's say you engage this on your own and you get a couple of links, like say I've been featured in, name the 2 or 3 places that you've been quoted, awards, licensing numbers, like anything like that just shows trust. And then you're 90% of the way there.
Chris, you've mentioned, was it YMYL? I'm sorry, like that's just what is that? I'm not familiar with that as an SEO term.
I was about to ask that as well, Jimmy. I was like,
YMYL, your money, your life. So any topic that falls under your money or your life. So health, finances, anything where there's going to be an extra layer of scrutiny, both from Google and from journalists. We put under that umbrella. So it's a lot easier. Yeah, it's a lot easier to tell a journalist you're a gardening expert, and for a journalist to quote you and say that you should do X, Y, and Z to have fatter tomatoes this summer. Like if you've been misquoted or you've said something which is bad advice, like no one's really going to get into trouble or care. Whereas if you give bad advice on something more meaningful, like paying taxes or managing your type 1 diabetes, then it's a bit more heavily scrutinized.
Yeah,
that's something new.
So these are inbound requests, are they? You're effectively responding to inbound requests from journalists that they need information on a particular topic, and you're effectively providing that on behalf of your client. Is that correct?
Yeah. So they're proactively working on an article, and they want to bolster the credibility of that article by peppering in 1 or 2 quotes from experts. They're not normally, in fact, they're almost always never looking for some like crazy original idea. Like they're professional journalists, like they're writing the story, but they want to back up the conclusions or the narrative of that story. You know, if they say that interest rates have been increased by the Bank of England, this is going to have X, Y, and Z effect on the economy over the next 5 years, and it's going to do X, Y, and Z to household incomes and this, that, and the other. Rather than just them saying all of that stuff, if they can get a quote from an accountant, you know, or a CFO of a large company that just bolsters one or two of the points that they've made, then that's the win for the journalist, and that's the opportunity we're seeking to leverage for the client.
With a backlink strategy, Chris, like this is probably varies greatly, but what should businesses be looking to invest in it? Basically, I've heard some crazy stories from Charles just in the SEO space. Like some brands are 10K plus a month on like trash backlinks, and then you've got some really good service providers that, you know, a couple of thousand. Like how much should people be looking to invest in this if they're looking to kind of do it seriously? And is it something that a client will come to you and they've got like a monthly budget and they want links every month, or is it kind of a one-off campaign? Like what does it look like for someone coming to buy links? Like is it another ongoing service that they're looking to do, or just kind of a one-off thing for a particular, I don't know, new launch or something that they've got? Like, what does it look like from that side?
It really does vary, but I suppose what it boils down to is their understanding of how competitive the industry that they're in is. So, like, we have a few casino clients, and they are 100% doing digital PR link building as part of a much broader and wider link building campaign. So they'll be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per month on, you know, guest post links, tier twos, or anything that they can, and they're wanting to add digital PR links as well to sort of, you know, maybe dampen the obviousness of the links that they're building. We'll have clients that have just built digital PR links for a long time. A lot of real estate clients we have, they just make it as part of their normal budget because they have a long-term SEO growth. But I would suggest you should look at your competitors. If you're in a very low competition space, and you're, you know, the people that are in your space, they aren't building links, then I wouldn't necessarily suggest that you need to go and start building links. But the benefits with the digital PR links, like I said, is more than just the link. So you'd need to weigh those factors, but then also consider that if you can start this yourself as well. Like I said, many of these platforms are free. If you can find the expert, or you are the expert, you can start pitching these yourself. It's just your time. Then, you know, if you start winning a couple, you notice the effects, then you can look to allocate budget. The only other thing that we've had is recently quite a few prospective calls with people saying that they're done with Facebook ads. They want to reallocate Facebook ad budget to something else that isn't Facebook ads. So that's another thing we're seeing. I think that's less. I think that's more for the LLM visibility. They want to be found in, you know, ChatGPT and Perplexity as opposed to wasting money on Facebook ads.
What about at a base level? I'm just thinking, like, from the Google Ads space. Like, I usually work with businesses that are spending a minimum of like $5,000 on ads to kind of go into my system. Who's reaching out to you guys that they basically wouldn't be ready for? Or I'm just thinking, I'm trying to get the people that are listening to this to think, okay, yeah, I would fit that at like the minimum level to at least start this with a company if they didn't want to do it themselves. Like, where would the baseline be for kind of just someone starting out? And is it like, hey, like if they came to you, what's the minimum amount of links that someone would come to you for? Do they come for one, or is it a package of 10 links? And then, like, where do they start?
Our smallest package is 5 links. And I think that's about $750 per link. $37.50 total, around that. Just
for the global audience, when you say 750, Chris, are you talking pounds? I'm guessing
USD.
Oh,
You're
USD.
in USD,
okay.
yeah. and that's our smallest package. That's a great place to start. I mean, those links, we put a 2 to 6 month like estimated delivery on that. It's all going to depend on the strength of the profile that we're pitching as, seasonality. Like August is just basically out of office from like a lot of journalist emails. So you have slower periods, and certain niches as well. Certain niches go much quicker. You know, the travel clients that did a 5-link campaign just before the summer started, you know, that gets wrapped up pretty quickly. If, you know, a travel client starts the depths of winter, can go a bit slower. But yeah, 5-link is a great place to start. See how those links like impact your domain rating is one way of looking at it, or that's a terrible thing to use. So I mean, you can just see from, you know, if it's having a positive impact on your keywords. But then, yeah, we go from 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. And for us, most people that are on like the 50 or the hundreds, obviously that's like a year plus to deliver that. And they'll do that back to back. That's just a continual part of their marketing allocation, because they're converting well from organic, and they want to keep that going. So
Yeah, no, I think that's a great baseline. I think people listening to this now would be like, okay, yeah, I definitely have the budget to start something like that. Or they might be, okay, I'm not quite there yet, but everything I've learned from this episode, I can go and try it myself. And then you build to a certain point, and then like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to hand it off to the guys that know what they're doing. So yeah, thanks for that. I think that's a really good insight for people wanting to start where that level is. So.
Yeah.
Chris, for those then that, let's say, I mean, Jimmy talks about, you know, companies that are potentially ready to invest. What about the ones that, like I say, they haven't quite got the budget yet? You mentioned a few or you mentioned that there's some platforms that you can kind of get started for free. Are you able to kind of share a few and, yeah, the process on how you would tackle that if you were starting out with no budget? That would be amazing, I think.
So do everything I said in terms of about page, profile optimization, social media, and everything tracking through. Make sure you clearly identify the broad niche that you're operating in. Like, don't mismatch your niche. Don't be a gardening expert and start pitching health queries. Like, you do need some flexibility around your niche. Otherwise, you're going to shoehorn yourself into too tight a bucket. So an example I give is like a real estate expert. Like, you don't just legitimately need to answer questions on real estate. Like, real estate experts have expertise in things like home staging, possibly interior design, even finance, like mortgages. Like there's you can really see the obvious ways that you can expand the opportunities within your tight niche, but broadly. So think about that in a logical way that makes sense, that isn't going to annoy journalists, because that's the one thing that will quickly get you either kicked off these platforms, or they'll just tell you like, don't respond to me again. I was looking for a finance expert, and you're the head gardener at gardeningworld.com, like, you know. But if you're the CFO of gardeningworld.com and it's like a legit company and you've got like a LinkedIn profile, then, you know, why not? Platforms, Source of Sources, which is Peter Shankman's like HARO rebirth platform, sourceofsources.com. HARO, helpareporterout.com, both free. Quoted, QWOTED.com. Pay to play, but freemium, so 5 free pitches per month, I think. And some additional free pitches as well. Helpab2bout.com is like a HARO, but for SaaS. Then you've also got Pressflow. And then what I would also recommend doing is a little hack. Find your competition that's done this, right? Because there will be someone out there. And the way that you know is you go to their homepage and you look for where they've said we've been featured in, okay? Then you're going to see 4, 5, 6 logos of places that they've been featured in. They've almost 100% secured those links by doing this sort of inbound request link building. Make a note of those publications, and then when you start pitching on these platforms, only pitch those publications, because you know that if your competition's won them, you've got a chance to win them, and it filters down all of the fluff and the crap. You haven't got to start looking at it, is this site any good? Well, if they've put the logos there, then it's almost definitely worth you going after those publications as well.
Right, some really great info there. One question I wanted to ask, and I'm sure Jimmy's probably maybe thinking the same as well, was how are you seeing navigating kind of AI, and what impact are you seeing that's going to have with PR in the future, like if anything at all? I'd be curious to get your thoughts there.
I think the outbound stuff has become very heavily spammed by AI now, with just like garbage story ideas, same repetitive crap. Charles, from reading the trashy red top papers in the UK, same old like nonsense stuff. Inbound as well. Like, I think, like with anything with AI, if you can use it in a way that enhances your output, enhances what you do, as opposed to just write a pitch for me and it's like 3 paragraphs full of M dashes and all the crap that screams
bloody
AI.
M dashes, I swear.
Yeah. then you're gonna look like every other AI response the journalist sees. So while it's still impacted and journalists are being hit with AI, it's also in a way easier to stand out, because if you don't do that, then you really stand out to the journalist. But yeah, I think AI is we use it and implement it. I mean, it's so good for things like checking, like building like alert checks, and you can build custom tools to like pull these queries in. You can like filter them based on RAG information and get really granular on the stuff that you do want to reply to. You can build your own personal custom knowledge bases inside of things like custom GPTs, where you can, if you are the expert, let's say you are the gardening expert of this gardening e-commerce website, and you do write genuine gardening blog content, and you make genuine gardening YouTube videos, and you've got a genuine gardening podcast, then download all of those transcripts, download all of that blog content, save them as PDFs, upload them to your custom GPT. And when a journalist is looking for a gardening expert to give, tips on what spade you should use if you've got hard soil, then if you've already talked about that publicly, then your custom GPT will be able to write in your tone of voice with accurate knowledge, and you've saved yourself all that time. You can just check it, pre-edit it. So, and if you're not the expert and you're going to like hire someone, then you can build those custom knowledge bases together based on, brand values and all that good stuff. So the way forward is quite exciting, but we can't just go into ChatGPT and say, write me an answer to this question. We've got to be smarter about it.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah. I
With
think,
the,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, Charles, you go.
No, all good, Jimmy, all good.
With the inbounds, Chris, like, how are you replying to them? Like, are you throwing in comedy? Are you trying to build a relationship, or is it quite factual? If a journalist is looking for something, it's like, hey, I've got this person who can speak on this. Like, hit me back if you're interested. Like, what's the approach? Are you trying to build a relationship, or is it just straight factual reply? Like, how are you approaching those inbounds?
Well, 100% depend on the request and how it's been put together. And we do build lots of relationships with journalists. Like, we provide good commentary on behalf of the client. The journalist will come back and back and back, time and time and again. But it will depend. And this is another sticking point. If you are going to do it on your own, do what the journalist asks. If the journalist says, I am looking for an expert to give me 3 sentences on why X is Y and why X, Y, and Z is, don't give them 15 paragraphs. Give them 3 sentences. Like, if they say you must be a US-based realtor, then don't be Australian-based interior designer. Like, if they say read that, it's like when I was at school and I used to do, I was terrible at exams, but my mom used to say, just read the fucking question. Like, just read the actual question and answer the question. Don't do anything other than what they're asking you in the question. So that's like my main piece of advice. But yeah, the journalist will say, they might say, I'm writing a piece for, like a big op-ed piece, and I'm looking for somebody who's recently gone through a messy divorce. Okay, now that's a real personal response that's going to need, and the journalist is clearly saying that, you know, I'm looking for someone to talk to me about their experience, let's say from a recent messy divorce. That is telling you that you can be quite open, it can be quite lengthy, it's got to be personal, it doesn't want to be matter of fact. Like, that's the nature of that request. If they say, I'm looking for someone to give me 3 tips on how to improve your credit score, don't talk about your messy divorce. Like, just give them 3 tips on how to improve credit score.
No, that's great insight. Because yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, you're right. Just kind of, so you're basically vibing off what the journalist is giving you, and then giving that similar vibe back. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing with that approach, it's not this templated approach. Like, oh, for everyone that offers this, this is the template we have. This is how we're applying.
No, yeah, it's unique on a journalist by journalist basis, but we've got so much experience at this now, and we know a lot of the journalists that, like, you know, that this journalist is always looking for like a handful of quotes. This journalist loves it if you give like really in-depth personal experiences. So you can learn that over time as well. But obviously that helps us just be better, faster, higher win rate. But yeah, the clue will be in however and whatever the journalist is asking for. So just give them what they want, and just I always err on the side of like shorter and to the point as well. Like, unless they're specifically saying like, I'm looking for a novel on messy divorces, like, err on the side of less is more, just because
Well, have you had a few clients, Chris, in the messy divorces?
No, I haven't. No. But yeah, I'd err on the side of shorter and snappier if you can, because they're busy, and yeah, they're lazy as well. They will just copy and paste what you put. So
from your experience, Chris, like, what's kind of been some case study wins for you? Like, so people have done these link building things. How have they seen, like, what's the wins for you? Is it traffic growth, or showing up in AI? Like, what are some case study kind of wins that you can kind of share with us if people are going on kind of this link building journey?
yeah, I mean, we've got a bunch of case studies on the website. We've been with one real estate client for a number of years. He's gone from like 200 billion to 900 billion in like total sales and he's just crushing it with his organic SEO and his starting to appear in the AI search. We've worked with an apparel like sports clothing e-commerce website, doubled organic traffic in less than 12 months. They did back-to-back campaigns with us. Lots of success stories. The one thing that I would say is most of the significant successful success stories, they haven't just like got a website that's not doing very well, bought some digital PR links, and then it's a success. Yeah,
I was gonna say, Chris, are they, when you're working with clients, like, you know, how often do they have an SEO agency on board or someone in-house that's like overseeing that? Do you get many clients that just say, oh, we want digital PR links and nothing else? Or like, are they're not doing anything else alongside it? I'm curious to know. Like,
yeah, most of them they have an SEO team and they're looking to outsource the digital PR. I'd say that's 50%, let's say. The other 50% is they've got a great content machine. Technicals are great. They don't want to do like paid link building. They understand the value of digital PR. They'll do digital PR as well. And then also we work with a handful of agencies where we'll deliver our services for them, for their clients. So them as the SEO experts know to deliver that.
What are the expectations, Chris, of kind of clients coming to you? Like, are they expecting kind of a specific result? But maybe even, like, say, when you were just mentioning the smallest package before, like someone starting out that small, like, should they have expectations of certain results, or just a tiny bit of bump in traffic, or a tiny domain kind of rank increase? Like, where should their expectations be, I guess, for kind of a link building campaign that they might kind of venture into?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to tell, and I think a lot of larger companies that are doing digital PR link building with us will have a much larger, like, full SEO strategy in place, and therefore that digital PR link building element is fitting in within that strategy. And in that case, it's very hard to like delineate where it's coming from. What they know the elements they need.
Yep.
For like a 5-link campaign, it's also really hard to know the impact of that. Like if you're looking for a domain rating increase as per Ahrefs, like Ahrefs can take months to find links. So you might build 5 links and go, oh, my DR hasn't gone up, but like actually Ahrefs hasn't crawled or found any of those links yet. I mean they do sometimes, but some they take a long time to. It's also hard to tell if you've been featured in these like big publications. You'll have some referral traffic, especially from the very large publications. So then you'll be sending positive signals, things like dwell time. If people are clicking around the site, they're staying on the site. Like that positive click data is going to have an impact. It can also dampen like I said, if you're doing aggressive guest post link building, and Google's starting to, maybe wanting to put you in a different area of its algorithm, but it's just seen that you've been featured in like the Mirror and Forbes and the BBC. It might, that's a lot of clients will do digital PR in order to offset the risk of, more aggressive paid link building. So it's very hard to tell, but I suppose that's the nature of link building, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have like a kind of a home run viral story basically? Like have you managed to get a link for a client and that particular article just happened to, for whatever reason, go out everywhere? And is that common in the PR space? Like, are there kind of home run campaigns where you get on a really good article and it just like explodes, like this client's website, as a one-off, or is it? I'm guessing the vast majority wouldn't be in that viral space, but it's just like a slow kind of strategically thought campaign that kind of builds over time.
Yeah, the outbound stuff is the stuff that tends to get picked up by multiple places, but it's the same story, reworked by multiple different publications. For us, the real home runs is when you are able to start developing those relationships with journalists on behalf of the client. So we recently had a client we got featured in a publication, and then as a result of that and continual email engagement with the journalist, it resulted in a full New York Times op-ed piece where they went to the client's house with the camera team and did a full op-ed piece. So the ROI on that alone, like, is significantly more than just the links within the campaign.
Amazing. This might be an SEO type question, but is there an advantage showing up on like a good publication more than once, or once you get a client a link from a certain website, are you kind of, okay, we're done with that publication, we go look at other places now for different links?
That's a great question, and that's part of my like hair pulling educational thing. We believe it is 100% good to get links multiple times from great publications. Like, why wouldn't you want the BBC to link to you 30 times? That is the biggest website in the world, telling like anyone who's looking Google that they trust you, not once, not twice, but 30 times. But for us, we try to limit the number that we'll build within a given campaign, because people are used to buying links off a list. I've got that one. Why would I want that one again? I've got that one. But for us, like, that's not what digital PR link building is about. But yeah, that's a great observation.
I think we're coming up to the hour mark.
Chris, so
really,
fast,
yeah,
Chris. Thanks. Like, honestly, like, thanks so much. We kind of just honestly just peppered you with questions for an hour. So
that's good. I loved it.
Well, I speak for myself, but I appreciate your time a lot. I learnt a lot too, which is why me and Charles do this. We just love talking to people in the e-commerce space, and even if we don't have guests on, we just love talking about e-commerce in general. So I think anyone that's looking for link building can get a ton of value from what you've just gone through then, and even myself, like I've already got like 20 ideas in the back of my head. So
Brilliant.
yeah, appreciate you coming on and kind of spilling some knowledge with us on this chat. It was great.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Chris, where can people find you? Say you're, any e-commerce brands listening in that are interested potentially in working with you. Where's best to find you?
Linkify, Linkify.io, or on LinkedIn, Christopher Panteli. Those are the best two places.
Great stuff.
All right. Thank you for having me. Cheers, guys.
All right, guys. Till next week. All the best.